Finding hidden clients. The reason I call this webinar Finding Hidden Clients is that I really believe that there are enough clients out there for everybody, no matter what your business is. But one of the things we struggle with is figuring out where the heck are these people, and then how do we connect with them. So this webinar hopefully is going to help you identify some key things for you, who your clients are, and give you some ways to reach them. Excuse me. So just to give you a bit of my background, in 1994 I was a divorced mom. I had 3 kids under the age of 10, and I knew how to do 2 things well. One was typing. Thank goodness my mom had said to me in high school, you have to take typing. And I knew how to talk in front of a crowd because I had come from a pretty big family. I had no cash, but I was able to get a computer on credit for 6 months, and then I had to pay it off. Now, to tell you how technologically illiterate I actually was at that time, I came home with the computer. It was a desktop model at the time, of course, in 1994. Opened it up, and I'd never seen a mouse. And I actually picked it up and waved it at the screen, thinking that would do something. And my 10-year-old son said, no, 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 Mom, you have to put it on this pad and move it. That'll help. That's what works. So that's the level of knowledge that I had coming into technology. So if you feel that you're overwhelmed, I totally get it because I've been there. And I began by taking term papers from students and menus for restaurants. I created a binder of 10 companies, and for each 10 company, I had a brochure and a flyer and an advertisement. And I traded babysitting with a friend, and I would get dressed up in the clothes I bought at the secondhand store because I had been a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have any work clothes. And I would make myself do 10 cold calls by 10 a.m. every morning. And that's how I started my business. And what started to happen was people would say, well, we're having trouble at this time of year, or this time of the week, it's slow, and marketing came naturally to me. I would give them ideas, they would work, and they would tell their friends. And that kind of grew into a business that included a daily radio show, a website that the New York Times picked as one of the best sites on the net, and a nomination for Canadian Entrepreneur of the Year. I built a company that developed dozens of websites for clients, and we developed and delivered university-level courses about marketing, online marketing, and business startups. I've spoken to over 10,000 people in person throughout Western Canada and the United States, and I am a certified guerrilla marketing coach. I was trained by J. Conrad Levinson's team. He's the guy that wrote all the guerrilla marketing books. And now I provide marketing strategy, development, and implementation, social media management, and speaking to 3 niche markets. And I want you to look at what I've done here is I've clearly identified who my ideal clients are. They're companies with 5 to 50 employees, women entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs over 40 who want to start over. So those are my 3 ideal clients. And if I have someone that approaches me that I don't feel fits into that niche, I'll consider working with them, but I really have to be sold on the idea because I know I'm at my best when I'm working with these 3 niches. So don't take every customer that comes along. So it's important that you take some notes today if you want to use screen capture or if you want to do handwritten notes or type them up, whatever works for you. But take lots of notes. I am recording this webinar. It is the first time I've used Meeting Burner, so I'm hoping that this works. And I will send you a link to the recording after so you can watch it again and again. But if that doesn't work, I'm happy to send you all my PowerPoint slides. What I want you to do is take some action on at least one thing that we talk about today. It's really important. If you're going to spend all this time and effort doing all this education, you definitely need to take action on it. There's no point in learning stuff that you're not going to do anything with. So here's what you'll learn. The 3 foundations for every marketing plan is the who, the where, and the how. You're going to learn how to use these foundations to target the clients most likely to buy from you because not everybody will buy from you, and then how to connect with your clients wherever they are. So let's get to it. First, what is marketing? We toss this term around. We hear it everywhere, especially online, social media marketing. Well, what is it? It's everything. It's the follow-up you do after the sale. It's what you name your business so you're easily identifiable. It's any advertising that you do. It's your customer service. It's your packaging. It's a referral program that you might set up. And it's your marketing plan. Basically, marketing is every single contact you have with a potential client and current clients. So it doesn't end at the sale. You want to stay in touch with people that have purchased from you or could purchase from you. So the 3 most important things for successful marketing. Identify your ideal client, that's the who. Find them, the where, and connect to them, that's the how. So step 1, identify them. Who are they? Now when I work with a new client, the first thing I say is, who is your ideal client? Who's the perfect person to buy from you? And quite often people will say to me, oh, it's everybody. What I sell, everybody could use. Here's the thing, unless you're selling air or water, that's not true. You have to get a little more specific than everybody. So the ideal client is, break it down like this. Do they have a role in a business? Are they an owner, a financial officer, a buyer, or are they a consumer? Now, we hear these terms thrown around a lot. So B2B means business to business. So you're a business selling to other businesses, or you're a business selling to consumers. Now, you may be both, and that's fine, but then you have to divide your ideal client into two separate places, because the B2B customer is probably going to be hanging out at Chamber of Commerce meetings, business networking meetings, but your consumer is going to be hanging out in different places. So we need to have different strategies for each of those. Now, are they male or female? Really important. What is their age range? Where did they get their information about products they buy or services that they use? Do they shop online? Do they read magazines, watch TV, or they go to YouTube? You should have a picture in your mind of who your ideal client is. And I'm going to give you some more little tips in a second, but just starting to think about who these people actually are. And it's very possible you're going to have more than one, more than two, maybe 3 or 4 even, but flesh each one out as best as you can. So are they B2B? Are they B2C? Male, female, age range, position in the business, online, offline, where do they shop? It's important to know if they shop in big box stores or they like to go to local merchants, because then you can do some joint ventures with those local merchants that you couldn't do with a big box store. Where do they get their information? Is it from friends? Is it online? Is it television? Who influences them? And what do they watch for entertainment? Do they still like to go to the movies, or do they watch Netflix? Step 2 is, now that you've identified them, you have to find them. Where are they? And you need to break this down into 2 parts. Especially today, social media plays such a huge role, so we need to look at online. Are they active in social media? And in a few minutes, we're going to talk a lot about social media, so you'll be able to figure out if your clients actually are there. Do they read blogs or subscribe to newsletters to get information? Or do they belong to associations that network online? LinkedIn has hundreds, if not thousands, of online groups that people go to network in. Maybe your ideal clients are there. Do they shop online? Where and what do they buy? So if they're shopping on Amazon, you could easily advertise on Amazon. Offline, magazines, newspapers, and other publications do they read? What TV shows do they watch? Are they still watching TV? Because many people now have switched to Netflix, and the cable companies, if you've been reading the news lately, are struggling because people are disconnecting their cable. What community organizations are they part of? Where do they shop? And what activities are they involved in? Do they play sports? Do they volunteer in the community? Do they belong to groups like Meetup? Well, if you're not familiar with Meetup, it was started in September of 2001 after the 9/11 terrorist attacks by 2 young guys who lived in New York. And they noticed that in their apartment building, like everywhere else in New York, everybody was just shell-shocked from what had happened. And they decided to hold a potluck dinner. And at this potluck dinner, they realized this was a really great idea to get people together, sharing their stories, and just connecting. And so they decided to start an organization called Meetup. And today there are millions of Meetup groups around the world that meet up about everything from miniature horse lovers to Mustang car lovers to vegan eaters to mountain climbers. No matter what your interest is anywhere in the world, you can find a Meetup group for it. And these are ideal places to find your specific clients and have some kind of an opportunity to go speak to them, to give them a free sample of your product, to do a workshop for them. So Meetups are definitely one of the groups that I would suggest you look at. So step 3 is connecting with them and figuring out where they are. And this is where it can get really fun. You can come up with some creative ideas like contests on Facebook or things like that. So let's get started. If you don't do these 3 things first, identifying who your clients are, where they are, and figuring out how to connect with them, you're going to waste your money. I see so many magazines full of advertising and newspapers full of advertising that people have wasted thousands and thousands of dollars on that nobody ever sees because they haven't done the target marketing properly. So let's take a look at social media. I have a number of people that have approached me to work with me, and they'll say to me, well, I don't like social media. And you know what my response is? I don't care, because your market doesn't care. If they're using social media, you need to be using social media. Some people don't like it. They don't get it. That doesn't really matter. If that's where your customers are, you need to have at least a basic understanding of it so that you can use it well to connect with your clients. This is just a little chart that I made. I've called it your social media circle. And basically what it means is that all the things that you do on social media need to be connecting to one place, which is your website. You want to drive traffic to that website because that's where you're going to have a free offer for people so that they can get a little bit more information from you, and you can get their email address, which allows you to keep in touch with them on a regular basis. So if you're one of my people that follow me on Facebook, you'll notice that I post quite frequently, and I'll link to blog posts that are on my Facebook page, on my website rather. I also post to the free reports that I have on my website. I have tons of free reports that people can download, and when I get their email addresses, that gives me an opportunity to follow up with them with my newsletter that goes out. LinkedIn is similar, the same type of thing. You can post on there, and people can connect back to your website. Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Instagram, and Pinterest. Now, blogging is actually tied into most websites, and blogging is basically an online place where you write down your thoughts for the day that would be of interest to your ideal clients. Again, if you don't know who your ideal clients are, you're not going to have topics that are going to be of interest to them to write about. So since we can't cover all the social media in this time that we've got, I picked the 4 most popular. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest. These are the 4 that are the most influential right now, so that's why I chose them. Let's talk about Facebook. It is the largest social media site in the entire English-speaking world. There's over 1 billion monthly users, and the majority of users are women, ages 18 to 29. Now, I put these slides together, this one actually, 4 months ago, and I pulled it from another presentation. I've added a whole bunch of new material today, but this was interesting that at that time they were saying that it may skew a little higher. Well, look at this. On the bottom here of this next slide, the fastest growing demographic on Facebook right now is the 45 to 54-year-old age bracket. So since 2012, that age group has gone up 46%. So if that's your ideal client bracket, age bracket, that's where you want to be looking is Facebook. Average users on Facebook are college educated and earn over $75,000 a year annually. And 189 million of Facebook's users worldwide are mobile only. So you need to be sure that whatever you're posting on Facebook looks good on a mobile device, because that's one of the things that many people are going to now is mobile devices. In fact, in the larger growing markets like Brazil, like China, like India, if you have ideal clients there, say you sell an information product or an educational program, the majority of those people don't have home computers. They access the internet completely on their mobile phones. If you have a personal Facebook profile, you cannot use it for your business. I see that there's a number of people in our community here in the Fraser Valley that have very successful online businesses, and they're using their personal Facebook page to promote their businesses, and they've got thousands and thousands of followers. You can have up to 5,000 friends on your Facebook profile, but the scary thing for me is one day Facebook's going to come to them and say, hey, this is a business page. You can't be running it like that, and they're going to shut them down, and they're going to lose all those people that are promoting them. So you do need to set up a business page, and it's not hard to do. You simply go to Facebook, and at the top right-hand corner of your personal profile, there's a little wheel. You click on that, and it'll say create a page, and it'll walk you through the process. Or go to YouTube and type in how to create a Facebook business page. That's one of the tools I always use. If I can't figure something out, I go to YouTube. Somebody's made a video about it. Ways to use Facebook successfully. You need to be posting 3 to 5 times a day. And some people are going to freak out when they hear that. Well, I actually post about 12 times a day. Now, I don't go onto Facebook 12 times a day. A few days in advance, I'll pre-schedule all of my posts. And you can do that using Facebook itself or using a free tool like Hootsuite. That's HOOTSUITE.com. And you can pre-schedule all your posts for Facebook, for Twitter, for LinkedIn using that tool. Mix up your posts so that they're interesting. Photos, quotes, information that pertains to your audience, and links to other information. Maybe there's a great report or an article that you've read on another website. You can link to that. See what your audience responds most to and post more of that. When to post? When your audience is online. I see some Facebook people saying, oh, always post at 7 in the morning and 7 at night. Well, if my audience is on at lunchtime because they work full-time and they can only check their Facebook pages on their lunch break, that does me no good. So I'm going to show you how to check and see when your audience is online. Analyze your visitors. Are they male? Are they female? What is their age range? And when are they online? That's all going to help you decide what kind of offerings to give to them. And consider advertising. Facebook advertising is inexpensive. I do $10 a day. Some days I only do $7. And what that allows me to do is I can target people where they live in terms of the cities, in terms of the countries. I can target what magazines they read, what television shows they watch, what other Facebook people they follow. I can target the political parties that they're interested in. I can target their interests, and I can just decide how much per Facebook ad I want to pay. So you can do for as little as $5 a day, you can advertise on Facebook. How do you find out who's viewing your page? So this is the front page of the top cover of my Facebook business page. And at the top there, you'll see there's the little button that says show. Well, if you click on that, oh, before we go on, I want to show you this. You can see my Facebook cover. This will change tonight. For the last week, I've been using this as a way to generate people to come to my webinar. And I would say use your Facebook cover as an advertising medium. Facebook previously had said you could only have 20% text on your Facebook covers. They've changed that now. So you can have as much text as you want. And a couple of months ago, you couldn't even put a web address in there. You can do that now. So use your Facebook homepage cover as a way to advertise. So when you click on that show button, this is what's going to show up, your admin panel. And you can see some of the most recent posts that I've done. The top one there, you can see it was about adding hashtags to your Facebook page. And those two numbers there, the 273, that's how many people saw it. And then 166 is how many people saw it who were as a result of a paid ad that I was running. And the next one was also just a quote about creativity, but it also had a link to one of my blog posts on my website. Well, the one I want to draw your attention to is the fourth one down, where it says, God bless your dreams. That was also a really beautiful photo I found of a sunset, and I had just put some words on that picture. And then I also typed in the little box, God bless your dreams. And 4,644 people saw that post, and 4,388 were people who saw it because of a paid ad. And remember, I'm only spending $5 a day on advertising. And out of that one, I think there was 57 shares, and there was a number of new page likes, and there was a number of comments as well. So Facebook advertising really can pay off big time for a small amount of money. Now, I post photos with little cute sayings on them 2 or 3 times a day, interspersed with business tips, blog posts, and that kind of thing. But ask yourself, what are the people responding to? Oh, sorry, there's my dog. Hang on. How to do a webinar when you've got a dog in the house. So pick the ones that people are responding to the most and post more of that. You can also look at age and gender, and here you can clearly see that 79% of my fans are women, and 46% of Facebook is women. So I really skew high for women, which makes sense. And the number of people who are 35 to 44, 24%, and they're women. Only 4% are men in that category. And then 26% are 45 to 54. So you can look at those statistics and figure out who's actually reading your page, and are they your ideal market. If they're not, then you need to change what you're posting so you can gain more people who are your ideal market. So how do you use Facebook successfully? Talked about a little bit about tracking your posts to see what kind get the most response and do more of those. Join some Facebook groups and interact with people in those groups. Really important to get to know people and build your profile so that they start to trust you on Facebook. And that can be everything from social media groups. It can be groups for, as an example, for Kim, she could go into groups that talk about how to live well with dementia, or groups that support seniors, that kind of thing. For stained glass, you could join groups that are about art. And don't go in as a sales pitch. Go in as someone who's offering helpful information. And, of course, your page will be linked there, and people will go back and look at your page, and you will become a trusted source. And that's the key to social media, is not to be a sales pitchy person. It's to be someone that has good information to share, and people begin to trust you, and then they buy from you. There's also private groups that you can join. And how do you find the groups on Facebook? Just go to the top of the Facebook toolbar, and there's a little box there. It's the search bar. Type in whatever you're interested in and click on that, and it'll bring up some options for groups for you. And you can find dozens of groups that fit your criteria, so you can start to build a following. Now, Twitter. A lot of people are confused by Twitter. I've actually not spent a lot of time on Twitter. I think I'm at about 900 followers or something, but I do get a lot of interaction there, and I have actually gotten a couple of clients from Twitter. And it's one of those social media platforms I need to spend a little bit more time on to understand and use more effectively. But I do know many people just use Twitter as their one social media platform and do very well. So it's basically an opportunity to connect with people in only 140 characters. The value of Twitter is in the hashtags, and these hashtags now are also on Facebook. And what they allow you to do is search. So if you go to Twitter and you are someone who likes stained glass, use the hashtag and stained glass, all one word, because it won't recognize the words if you separate them, and see what other people are tweeting about that has relationship to stained glass. Now, possibly you're going to get someone who has a question about stained glass, who has a problem with it, or is looking for someone to provide stained glass for them. So there's an opportunity there for you to search whatever it is that you're offering and make connections. And contribute to conversations before you try to sell. Don't let people think that you're just there again to do a sales pitch. Be a contributor. Now, Twitter, excuse me, is a younger demographic. The average age is only 27. More city dwellers than rural residents, and 15% of people who earn between $30,000 and $75,000 a year use Twitter. 15% of women who use social media use Twitter, and 17% of men. So there's more men on Twitter than women. The fastest growing demographic, however, again, changing, going up in age. And you notice this trend. More and more people over the age of 45 to 50 are using social media. So if your clients are over 40, you need to be looking at social media. That's up 79% since 2012. And it's actually the fastest growing social network in the world, 44% growth from last June. That's incredible. Now, who uses Twitter? One of the guys that I follow on Twitter, his name is Gary Vaynerchuk. And if you want to get some really hard-hitting, clear marketing direction, Gary Vaynerchuk is a great guy to follow on Twitter and on YouTube. All the big news organizations, of course, are on Twitter. Most of the governments are now on Twitter. In fact, where we live in Abbotsford, their local police department is on Twitter, and they're using it in a really fun way. What they're doing is they're posting the funniest excuses people have when they get pulled over for speeding. But they also post warnings about someone in the community, or I know that in Alberta when the flooding was happening a couple of months ago, they were posting warnings about where to stay away from in the city, where to get help. So a lot of government agencies are using it now as well as an information source. And also, of course, a lot of charities. And a lot of charities have teamed up with the phone companies, and you can actually send a tweet with a certain hashtag in it, and it automatically debits your phone bill at the end of the month as a donation to a specific charity. YouTube. 50% of the media that's viewed online now is video. So if you're not doing video, I would encourage you to start thinking about doing it. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. Video can be very, very helpful. More than 1 billion unique users visit YouTube every single month. 1 billion unique people go to YouTube every month. That's incredible. And each month, over 6 billion hours of video are watched on YouTube. That's almost an hour for every person on Earth, and 50% more than last year. So you can see the growth of video. It reaches more adults between the ages of 18 to 34 than any cable network. So if you're trying to appeal to a younger demographic, YouTube is where you want to be because they're not watching television anymore. And this one just floors me. 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single minute. That's incredible. It's now owned by Google. So when you go to Google to do a search, if there's a video on YouTube, it's going to show up in that search. And that's really important. If you're posting videos on YouTube and you've properly put the description in and you've named them properly, people searching on Google will find your video. So YouTube and Google combined are extremely powerful. Short videos are better, well-titled. Now, I've seen people post videos like lesson number 42. Nobody goes to YouTube and types in lesson 42 in the search bar. What do people type in for the search? What I've done is I've named my videos things like how to use social media, because that's the kind of thing that people will type in at YouTube. How do people search? That's what you've got to keep in mind. Don't name it something that means something to you. Name it something that means something to people looking for you. Strong descriptions. Use the keywords that people in your target market are going to be looking for with links back to your website. Again, drive traffic back to your website. And I would suggest if you're going to drive them back to your website, you drive them to a page where you can collect their email address. So have them get a free report from you, allow them to watch a video series from you, something for free that they have to give you their email address for, because then you have them as a potential contact going forward. And you can record them on your iPhone. I've got a couple of really short videos on my YouTube channel that I just did on my iPhone sitting on my back porch, or you can use your webcam on your computer. or you can go for a really fancy setup. But most people just want the quality information, not production value. A couple of people that I follow on YouTube, Derek Halpern is amazing, and he has a company called Social Triggers. I would really look at following him on YouTube and on Facebook, because what he does is he combines psychology and marketing together. So he teaches you about the right words to use, colors to use, and how it impacts the consumer's brain, so you really craft your message properly. James Wedmore, he has tons of free videos on how to use YouTube. I actually have his YouTube video course, which I'm going to be looking at later this month, so I can use YouTube more effectively myself. But he's also someone, both of these guys have tons of free videos out there. So there's lots of information that you can learn from them. And another one here that I really would suggest you just take a quick look at. Hello. Is Ian Watt. And he is a realtor in Vancouver.
Not me, not my number.
And he is one of the top realtors in the city, and what he did 5 years ago is all of his marketing off online. Oh, we've got some overlap here. I'm just going to mute. Hang on one sec, people. Okay. All right. So, whoops. Back to the beginning. Don't you love? Now, if I'd recorded all this, you wouldn't have got to see all my flubs, but that's what makes it real. Okay, so youtube.com/user Vancouver Penthouse. Eric Watt took all of his marketing online 5 years ago. He does no offline marketing anymore. And his videos are really sparse. He'll sit in his car, he'll go, oh, and he'll just use his iPhone. He goes, oh, I just got a call about this property at such and such an address. Going to drive over there now and show you. And he walks you through the penthouse with his iPhone. And this guy is making multiple millions of dollars every year, and he's just using his iPhone. Pinterest. This is like the world's biggest corkboard to pin fun ideas on. And Pinterest is actually responsible for 1/3 of the traffic that's being sent to sites where people can buy products today. It is like a giant corkboard. You can create boards that interest you and your followers. You pin photos on your boards, and people share those pins. And you can link your photos back to your website or blog, again, driving traffic back to your blog or your website. And you can put pricing on your items. So for stained glass, it would be ideal. You can post your pictures of your stained glass products, and you can put a price tag in the description, and that will show up on the page. Now, how does that help you? Well, around Christmas time or gift-giving time, people can type in the search bar stained glass, and they can put in a price point. And anything that you've got that's in that price range will show up in that search. I had one client over Christmas last year. We put all their chocolate products up with the prices, and they did very well in terms of referral traffic from Pinterest because of that. iPhone application for Pinterest is now downloaded 200,000 times a day. That means 200,000 individual people every single day are downloading the Pinterest app to their iPhone. So they're looking at Pinterest from their phone. The average time spent on Pinterest is 14 minutes. That's a long time when you consider the average time on a website is anywhere from a minute to a minute and a half. 2.3 billion page views just in March of this year, and over 4 million unique visitors every single day. Most users are women, and most are 25 to 54. And this is good to know. Most have a higher than average income, which is really important because they want to spend money. And Pinterest, like I said, drives a lot of money. This is my Pinterest page. I've got different boards. You can see words of wisdom. These are just quotes, my appearances, books that I like to read, amazing places. I've also got down in the bottom corner here, you can see what's on the blog. Every time I write a new blog post, I put a link on Pinterest to it. And anytime I have a cute little quote that I put on my Facebook page, it also goes on Words of Wisdom here. And anytime I make an infographic, it goes on Business Info so that people can share it. This is the #1 Pinterest user in the world. Her name is Joy Cho. She's out of Los Angeles, and she has over 14 million followers, if you can believe it. And look at this. She's only following 165 people, but 14 million people love her. She follows fashion and recipes and stuff for the home. So this lady's worth a lot of money, and I can tell you she's probably being paid a lot of money to promote products for Pinterest, for people that want to advertise on Pinterest. So tips for social media. Decide which platforms your ideal clients use. Don't waste your time on a platform because it's fun unless it's just your own personal time. Have a clear plan of what you want to post. And is it what your potential customers are interested in? Now, you're not always going to get it right. Sometimes I think, oh, this is the best blog post I've ever written, and I get no feedback. It's like crickets, and I think, wow, that was really off base. But it's a trial and error thing, and you just never know what's going to happen. Schedule your posts using the Facebook Scheduler or Hootsuite, and check in twice daily to respond to comments. I've started now to not leave my Facebook application open when I'm online during the day because it's distracting. And we can easily get sucked into that Facebook vortex and never get out. So I suggest pre-scheduling your posts and checking in 2 or 3 times a day to answer questions, post something new that's just come up, or respond to comments. Make sure you're responding to comments. It's critical that you have that interaction with people. But don't leave your Facebook platform open all day because you won't get any work done. So now it's your turn to make your own list of who your ideal clients are, where you can find them and what activities they participate in, and how to connect with them. Try something that you haven't done before. Get creative and have some fun. And even if it's just, okay, I'm going to now post 3 times a day instead of once a day. See what happens when you do that. And another little tip for posting, especially on Facebook and Twitter as well, is asking people to share or comment. You'll often notice some of the most popular posts are ones where people have said, oh, share this with your friends, or what do you think, what's your answer, caption this photo. People are asking for interaction. You have to tell people what to do on social media. So what you've learned in this webinar is the 3 most important things to focus on in your marketing: how to identify your ideal clients, how to find them, and how to connect with them, and how to use the top 4 social media platforms to reach them. And I hope that this has given you some value and some first steps in understanding how to connect with your ideal clients. And if you have gotten some value from this webinar and you'd like some more marketing help, I'd just like to take 2 minutes and tell you about a new online training program that I've created. It's called Guerrilla Marketing for Your Business. And what I've done is I've actually taken everything I learned from J. Conrad Levinson and condensed it into an online training program. So if you're confused about the right marketing training, or you need some help but you don't know where to start, I've taken 25 guerrilla marketing tactics, and by the end of it, you'll be able to understand all these tactics, identify your ideal clients, and create a marketing calendar. So every single day you're doing something to build your business. And I would love to help you with this. I'd love to be your guide. This program contains 8 videos and 13 downloadable resources. So I've got lots of help there for you, and I'm available, of course, anytime that you need some help. And this is what I learned from J. Conrad Levinson, and it did cost me many thousands of dollars to complete this program, but I wanted to be sure that anybody who needed marketing help could get it at a reasonable price. I started off at $197, but for the summer, because it's kind of slow for people in their own businesses, I thought I'll drop it down to $147. So that's what the price is for the 8 videos and the 13 downloadable reports, and of course access to me whenever you need some help. So if you feel like you'd like to invest in your business, open a new browser window now. And the web address is gmarketingforyourbiz.com. And I do offer 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're not happy with it, no problem, you get your money back. So I think the most important thing that people can do is really clearly identify who their ideal clients are. That's a step that most people skip. Then decide that once a week, you're going to sit down, you're going to schedule all your Facebook posts. You're going to pre-schedule your pins to Pinterest if you're using Pinterest. You're going to write 1 blog post a week. And your blog posts are where you can really have a voice and people can get to know you. And then start looking for other blogs that you can do a guest post for. There's so many options available on social networking today. They don't cost money. They just take a little bit of planning first and then time. And block out some time each week to do your marketing and your social media. What I would love to do is have you stay connected with me. I know a number of you are on Facebook with me and Twitter and that kind of stuff, but here is all of my social media connections, and I would love to stay connected with you through these. And if you've gotten some value out of the webinar, I would love to just have you maybe go to Facebook and put a quick comment there just so that I know that what I've offered to you has been helpful. And I promise I'll speak slower next time, Judith. And also, if there's another topic that you want me to talk about in terms of marketing or social media, definitely let me know. Send me a quick little note, and I'd be happy to create a webinar on that. Okay, so I don't like to keep people for more time than they need to spend with me, so I'm so glad you had a chance to spend this time with me this evening. Stay connected with me if you haven't already. I'd love to get your feedback on Facebook, and I will keep you in the loop about future webinars, and send me notes about what you'd like to know for webinars coming up. And have a wonderful evening, and thanks for excusing my barky dog. Next time I'll make sure she's not in the room. Thanks, guys, and have a great rest of the evening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.